White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America. Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. And over the next few minutes, we'll take you from the United States and around the world, covering all the top stories of the day. But before that, let's take a look at the latest headlines. China threatens Taiwanese independence advocates with the death penalty. Taiwan's president responds, calling Beijing an autocratic evil. A massive fire at a South Korean lithium battery factory kills at least 22, a majority of which are Chinese nationals. The Interior Minister vows full support for the victims. 5,000 conscripts to begin duty in the Myanmar army this week. This as the country's military junta struggles to crush an armed rebellion against their 2021 coup. Kenya to begin deploying its police officers in the Caribbean nation of Haiti starting tomorrow. Nations including Benin, Chad, Bangladesh, and Barbados will also send troops to curb gang violence in Haiti. And Sierra Leone's parliament approves a law banning child marriage, making it illegal for families to marry off their daughters under the age of 18. The United Nations estimates that the West African nation has 800,000 child brides. Our top story tonight is from Russia. Gunmen attacked churches, a synagogue, and a police post in Russia's Caucasus region of Dagestan. The terror attack took place in two separate cities, resulting in the deaths of at least 15 police officers, 4 civilians, and an Orthodox priest. The motives and identities of the gunmen remain unclear, and no one has claimed responsibility for the attack. The assault on the synagogue took place about 40 minutes before evening prayers were due to start. Dagestan's Ministry of Internal Affairs said at least 19 people took shelter inside a church in the city before they were led to safety. The region's governor has claimed that at least 6 attackers were killed in retaliatory fire.
Unprecedented in their cruelty, terrorist attacks were committed today against religious sites in the capital of Dagestan, Makhachkala, and our ancient city of Derbent. Subsequent operational search and investigative measures will be carried out until all participants in these sleeper cells are identified. And of course, they had been preparing for this, including from abroad.
The recent events highlight the deep-seated ethnic and religious tension in Russia, particularly in the southern Caucasus region. From 2007 to 2017, a jihadist movement carried out attacks in Dagestan and the neighboring Russian republics. And now the most recent attack has further shaken Russia's Jewish community, which has faced increased threats since the beginning of the conflict in Gaza. Yesterday's attack comes nearly 3 months after approximately 133 people were killed by gunmen at a rock concert on the outskirts of Moscow. The Islamic State, based in Afghanistan, claimed responsibility for that attack. However, Moscow blamed the attack on Kyiv without providing any evidence. Then in April, Russia's security service arrested 4 people from Dagestan on suspicion of involvement in plotting the concert attack. Now, after yesterday's terror incident, Russian politicians have again accused the West and Ukraine of being involved. Even ministers from Dagestan claim that the special services of Ukraine and NATO countries conducted the attack. Russia's investigative committee has initiated an investigation into the deadly incident. June 24th through the 26th have been declared days of mourning in Dagestan, with flags lowered to half-mast and all entertainment events canceled. Here in the United States, Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant is in Washington to hold critical talks with President Joe Biden's top officials. He's scheduled to meet Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, CIA Director William Burns, and President Biden's Special Envoy Amos Hochstein.
In these meetings, I will discuss developments on the Gaza front, the Lebanon front, and they have a crucial importance at this time. We are prepared for any action that may be required in Gaza, Lebanon, and in other places as well.
Now, Gallant's visit comes as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continues to repeat his claim that Washington is in fact withholding a shipment of weapons meant for Israel, a charge that has angered U.S. officials who have called it perplexing.
I highly appreciate President Biden's and the U.S. administration's support of Israel. Since the beginning of the war, the U.S. supplied us with a very important support both in spirit and material, with defensive and offensive means. But about 4 months ago, there has been a dramatic decline in arms supplies from the U.S. to Israel. Over long weeks, we have turned to our American friends with a request to speed up deliveries. We did it time and again. We did it with higher officials and other ranking officials, and I would like to emphasize, we did it behind closed doors. We got various explanations, but one thing we did not get. The basic state of affairs did not change. Some items came in dripping, but the great mass of arms was left behind.
Now, Gallant says that during his meeting with U.S. officials, he will discuss the transition to the next phase of Israel's operations in Gaza.
The transition to Phase C in the Gaza Strip is of great importance. I will discuss this transition with U.S. officials on how it may enable additional things, and I know that we will achieve close cooperation between Israel and the U.S. on this issue as well.
Now, on Sunday, Netanyahu announced that the intensive phase of the war against Hamas in Rafah was about to end, while emphasizing that it did not mean that the operations were coming to a close. The Israeli Prime Minister also added that more forces would be deployed along the northern border with Lebanon, where fighting with Hezbollah has actually escalated.
After the intense phase is finished, we will have the possibility to move part of the forces north, and we will do this, first and foremost for defensive purposes, and secondly, to bring our residents home. If we can, we will do this diplomatically. If not, we will do it in another way. But we will bring all home, all the residents of the north as well as the residents of the south.
Now, reports say thousands of fighters from Iran-backed groups are prepared to descend on Lebanon and join forces with Hezbollah in its fight against Israel. A Hezbollah leader says militant commanders from Iran, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and other countries have offered to send their fighters to help the group, which already has more than 100,000 militants. Last week, both Israel and Hezbollah threatened each other with full-scale war. Meanwhile, the United States and the European Union have warned of the possibility of the war in Gaza expanding, with the prospect of Israel's offensive inside Lebanon to eliminate Hezbollah.
The risk of this war affecting the south of Lebanon and spilling over, it's also every day bigger. We are strongly concerned. I hope that the ministers will support our initiative and continue reaching out with our partners in order to look for a strong international support for a ceasefire.
Now, with the risk of an all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah, a deepening crisis in Gaza, and the accusations by Netanyahu, the stakes are only getting higher for President Biden as he navigates this labyrinth of geopolitical minefields largely set by America's most stalwart ally in the Middle East. And staying in the United States, the first of two much-anticipated presidential debates takes place in a matter of days. When Joe Biden and Donald Trump face off on Thursday, June 27th, it will be the first time in American history a presidential debate will feature a sitting and a former president. Joe Biden and Donald Trump spent the weekend sharpening their arguments for the debate, though in very different ways. President Biden and his team huddled in Camp David as they practiced mock debates and counter-question strategies. The Democrats' personal lawyers and advisors served as stand-ins for the mercurial ex-president. On the other hand, however, Donald Trump spent his time on the campaign trail where he verbally attacked the commander-in-chief.
How should I handle him? Should I be tough and nasty? Or should I be, she'd say, no, should I be tough and nasty and just say you're the worst president in history? Or should I be nice and calm and let him speak? Who likes Crooked Joe the best? Who likes Sleepy Joe the best? Crooked Joe? Sleepy Joe? Whoa! You know, that's the first time that Sleepy Joe has ever beaten Crooked Joe. It's the first.
Now, President Biden and Donald Trump will face each other in a rematch of 2020. However, unlike last time, the rules and regulations have been adjusted for the 2024 election. The 90-minute debate will include 2 commercial breaks, and the campaign staff will not be allowed to interact with their candidate during that time. Microphones will be muted throughout the debate except for the candidate whose turn it will be to put forward their argument. No props or any pre-written notes will be allowed on stage. And one of the most striking departures from previous debates will be the absence of a studio audience. Now, presidential debates have long been criticized on substantive and stylistic grounds, yet remain a major part of the campaign season. On Thursday, millions of Americans will be watching the verbal standoff between President Biden and Donald Trump as the polls are now beginning to show clear signs that Trump's hush money conviction are in fact impacting his standing in the race. Moving to South America, rebel groups in Colombia are using the Chinese social media app TikTok to recruit school children. Propaganda videos that promise wealth and a flashy lifestyle are luring children into leaving school and chasing quick bucks. The Colombian government says almost 160 children have already joined these groups just this year. Now, the recruitment of young people by guerrilla groups is in fact not new to the conflict-ridden country, but the rise of TikTok has only made it more challenging. Our next report explains.
Chinese social media app TikTok is not just a platform for entertainment. It has also become a medium to glorify violence and illegal activities. In the South American country of Colombia, where rebel groups once used Facebook to lure people, are now enticing teenagers to join them via TikTok. These guerrilla groups post recruitment videos on the app and promise wealth by showing off their flashy lifestyle. A lifestyle that is slick, aesthetic, and targeted at young people. Children are sold a life where they can have everything they want, from money and jewelry to cars and motorcycles. The content presents money, drinks, and women as trophies, and the coca economy as the ultimate guarantee of fixed income. If you scroll through the comments section of these videos, you will find various emojis that reveal one common language. A green leaf referring to coca crops that produce the drug cocaine, and a covered face of a ninja symbolizing secrecy. So who are these rebels, and why do they want children to join them? Most of these fighters once belonged to the Revolutionary Armed Forces of the Colombia guerrilla group called FARC. The group demobilized in 2016 after signing a peace deal with the Colombian government. However, some of its dissident factions who were not ready to lay down their weapons joined forces to form a larger umbrella group named the Estado Mayor Central, or the EMC. Now, Colombian authorities estimate that the EMC has more than 3,000 members, and they finance themselves through drug trafficking and maintaining control of rural territories. The EMC recruits children to fight against the Colombian military on its behalf. As peace talks between the faction and the government to end Colombia's 60 years of war continue to falter each time. The recruitment of children by guerrilla groups has been a long-standing issue in Colombia for decades, but the infiltration of social media has made it more challenging. The propaganda videos on TikTok resonate especially with children, most of whom have spent their lives in a country roiled with armed conflict and where poverty affects 46% of the rural population. Teachers in Colombia say they often find students filming themselves on their smartphones, drawing symbols inspired by rebel groups and dancing to revolutionary tunes. These activities used to be more secretive earlier, but now they are out in the open and completely normalized. One teacher says students often disappear from class, and the next time she sees them, they show up on TikTok videos armed and dressed as fighters. Government data shows that at least 184 young people joined the guerrilla group last year, and this year 159 children have already been recruited up until June. These are just the reported cases, as most of the recruitments don't even get reported. The Colombian government says it's trying to crack down on these TikTok accounts. Authorities have created a delegation specifically to tackle this problem, but it's just getting off the ground. And for TikTok, its community guidelines state that moderating millions of pieces of content each day is a complex effort. The rebel EMC also says it's trying to prevent its members from grandstanding on TikTok. However, new propaganda videos popping up every day tell a different story.
And finally, the latest on Elon Musk's most recent achievement. In a move that surprised absolutely no one, Musk has once again made headlines, this time for welcoming his 12th child. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO has expanded his already large family. And while details about the baby's name and gender remain a mystery, this new addition puts Musk's views on population and parenthood back in the spotlight. Here's our final report on the entrepreneur's burgeoning family.
Elon Musk, a name one just can't escape. Whether it's his wacky conspiracy theories or his chats with Donald Trump, this guy knows exactly how to grab headlines. It's as if he has a checklist: border security, vaccine doubts, pronoun jokes. And the best one, babies and always babies. Whether he's in an interview or schmoozing with the world leader, babies and their importance are always on the billionaire's agenda. And now, Elon Musk is back in the spotlight with yet another baby. For those who intentionally skipped the news, Elon Musk has welcomed his 12th child. The Tesla CEO confirmed he became a father again with Neuralink Director Shivon Zilis earlier this year. The name and gender of the baby is still under wraps. And while no one seemed to make a fuss about the new addition, Musk claimed in an interview that it was never a secret. All their family and friends knew about it. Musk even joked that the failure to issue a press release should not be tagged as a secret. He now has 3 kids with Zilis, 3 with Canadian pop star Grimes, and 5 with ex-wife Justine Wilson. It looks like Musk can start a sporting team right at home. Musk says the world is facing a low fertility rate crisis. He's been very vocal about the threat of a collapsing birth rate to civilization. He predicts that by 2050, the population will witness a collapse. Musk repeatedly posts on X urging people to have more kids. He claims that people are not doing their duty amid the falling birth rates. So officially and unofficially, he's the leader of the pro-natalist movement. The believers of this movement want more children so that there are more consumers. Reports suggest that the Musk Foundation has been quietly funding this movement. In 2022, he even hired a company to make a documentary about population decline. At a time when most people prefer having one child or no children at all, Musk seems to be swimming against the tide. For him, feeding 12 children isn't a big deal. After all, he's a billionaire with endless resources, unlike others who are struggling with the economic downturn and unemployment. But for the man who dreams of saving the world, is just having kids enough? Isn't maintaining relationships with them just as important? Musk has strained relationships with most of his children and their mothers. In 2022, his child Vivian with Justine Wilson said he no longer wishes to be related to his biological father. And in 2023, Canadian singer Grimes filed a court petition to establish parental rights for their 3 children after splitting with Musk. Elon Musk, the man on a mission to populate Mars, is struggling to keep his family united on Earth. While he might be a billionaire, he struggles to save his relationships from going extinct.
That's our show for today. We certainly thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on First Post America.